theory. Now, in Norman's theory, that was the first important thing in the HCI that was present by the psychologist Normans who studied the cognitive behavior of humans. So that theory was encapsulated by the book The Design of Everyday Things. So it becomes the foundation of HCI. And it is the central theory that was proposed by Normans. And according to this theory, there are the three things that HCI should emphasize on. So we will see this one by one. The first one is the affordance, means the perceived action to a object or the interface. Means here, this according to this theory, for example, let's take with an example, if there is a button that is affording the pushing or handling the pulling, just like it says that this property says that the user should perceive any object based upon their past experience or the knowledge. So it says that a good design is something that is clearly guiding the user to interact with the object in different ways. Now, here the buttons, the sliders, the other interface, according to this theory, should be aligned with the user mental model. So, as I mentioned that if something is danger, like if we want to delete something file mistakenly or something, an alert box with a red background will appear. You are going to delete that. So in user mind, in our mind, red is the color of danger. So that's why when we are going to end something, when we are going to delete something, our red color is given in the background. Similarly, the green color is the color of life. Green color represents life. So that's why whenever we are going to submit the button, green color is always taken in the positive manner in human mind. So that's why uh, for submitting something for any positive action, green color is preferred. So it is according to the theory, Norman's theory, so that the design must be in such a way according to the user mental model that user can easily perceive that. Then we have more common examples there. Just like a white background is mostly used. Now, why mostly in different designs a white background is used? It is because it makes the things more clear with a black handwriting. What if the text color instead of black should be another? So in user mind, it is easy to read something in the color black with the white background. So it is according to the theory of affordance, like everything should be aligned in such a way that is relating with the user mental model. Then the signifiers. These are the clues or the indicators that have to communicate the presence of our affordance element. So this will, just like as in the affordance, that helps the user to interact with the object or anything according to their mental model. This will help the user to understand the action, what is going to perform, and how that action is going to do. Like for drawing the user attention, we use relevant elements. So, for example, a clickable button should be visual distant from a non-clickable button, like a hover effect is used. Means here, if I hover in anything, the background color will be changed. Hover effect means whenever you click on anything, its background will be changed. So it will helps the user to understand that this is clickable, and something that is not clickable, its background will not change. So it is the theory that comes from signifiers. Present the things to the user in such a way that the user himself will understand, should I perform it or not. Just like the most modern, the hover effect. Whenever you can also try it, whenever you gather on this Zoom application, you just click on any icon or just place your mouse pointer on any icon. You will see the background of that icon will be changed. So that will shows that this is clickable. If I click something, something will be happen. And you can see for chat there is a icon related to chat. For recording there is a icon related to recording. For mute and unmute yourself there is a icon of mic. So in this way, signifiers helps the user, give the user clues. What is the action and what will happen if we are going to perform that. Then mapping. Mapping means the relationship between the different controls and their effects. Now, in simple words, what is a mapping? Means it will make a relationship between the user action and the system response in a natural way. Now, how we are going to do that? Now, mapping means the controls will be create different natural effect between the controls. Like, let's take an example here. If this PowerPoint interface is visible to everyone, here if the cut option is given, then below the cut, the copy option is given. Now, what they are going to give us, how we are going to understand it. And with them, beside a paste option is also given. These three items are aligned with each other. Means that shows if the in user mind, according to that element mapping, if a user cuts something, he is going to paste something on clipboard. If the user have pasted something, the user can copy the thing at the same. So these three things align at the same page. So that is my mapping. Means you will combine all the related items at a single page or arrange with one by one. Beside one by one, you are going to arrange them so that it will helps the user to understand how the things are related with each other. Then the feedback. Now in the modern interface, feedback mostly there is an option of feedback. Now why this option is given to the user? So that it will help the designers to see what are different requirements of the user and how they are going to meet them. So that was the Norman's theory. The first one is the affordance, means how the user is going to interact with the objects, means how the objects will be present in such a way that meet the user mentality. Then we have the signifiers, means the clues that will help the user to understand what action is going to perform and how is going to perform. For example, we have take whenever you want to take a picture, there is an option of camera there. For something like if you want to call someone, there is an icon of phone in your mobile interface. That are the signifiers. Then the mapping means all the related things are on the same page. Just like the cut, copy, and the clipboard are at the same area in the PowerPoint. Then the last one was the feedback. Means taking the user ideas or knowledge about their interface so that the designers can build. So now we will discuss two most important laws in HCI, the Hicks and Hammond response selection law. So it is also called the Hicks law, that was invented by two British and American psychologists, William Edwin and Hicks and Ray Hammond. Now, what it suggests that it states that if we give two more options that we have, then it will take the longer time to make any decision. Let's illustrate with an example. For example, you click on a menu. There are 20 to 30 items. How much time you will take to select one option? So let's take a real life example. You visit a restaurant and you were given a menu, and the menu contains 40 dishes. Now, and you have only to select only one from it. One out of 40. Now, you will take a lot of time for making a decision. What should I select? So that is what this law stated. The Hicks law says that if we give few options to the user, it will take less time to make the decision. Now, for example, if in the menu, if there are only three options that are visible to you, so ultimately you will take less time to select from three of them. So that is what this law says, that provide user less option so that it will take less time to make a decision. Now, for example, let's take an example here. You have opened a PDF document in a Adobe Acrobat Reader, just like this. So, hope so it is visible. So for the people who had joined late, for the student, I again repeating, we are going to study the principles of HCI, the Hick-Hammond's law. According to this law, if we provide few options to the user, then it will take less time to make a decision. For example, if you visit a restaurant and you are provided with a menu containing 40 dishes, you might take a lot of time to make a decision. But if the menu contains only three dishes, if the menu is only a three-dish menu, then you will take less time to select one from that. That is what this last stated. Now we take an example here. For example, if you open a PDF document in any software. Now here, when you click on this file option and you want to print that document. Now you can see when you click on this file option, there are so many options that were appearing. These options, I'm talking about all these options. And you have to find the print option. You cannot find the print option at once. It might take few seconds to search for the print option. Now, what if there is only 3 to 4 option and you have to search for the print from that? Then it will take less time. So the purpose of presenting this example is the Hicks law say that if you provide less option, then it will take less time, for the user to select from them. So these are all the formulas. We are not going to deep dive in that. Then why it is important for the UX designers? It includes too many links on your landing page. What is a landing page? There are two kinds of website. First one is called the landing page and the second one is the website containing multiple pages. In landing page, at the same home page, we have different section, and the different section are will perform some certain action there. Just like on the first action, there will be the detail of that brand. In the second section, there will be products to display. In the third section, there is a call to action button where you are going to buy that. And at the end, there will be the photo. That is the one page website. That is called a landing page. So in landing page, there are too many links that user have to visit. So if the user keep on scrolling too many options, then it will lead to the fatigue to the user, and the less user will visit your application or website. So for UX designer, Hicks law will say that if there are many products and if you want to reduce their time to value, then please provide few options to the user so that the user will not get tired, and it will help the user to make a decision quickly. Then, for example, according to Hicks law, how to avoid the information overloading by apply Hicks law. Now, it will simplify your sign up process. So, whenever you are going to purchase any product, you have to sign up first. As we know, the and user times and patience have a limit. So, if the sign up process is too long, the user will lose the interest. So Hicksler say that sign up process should be easy so that the user can keep interacting with your site. Then whenever you visit a website, there is also a survey. It say that keep your survey simple and short so that user can keep engage himself with your product. Like if there is a banking application, they will say that welcome to Backlink Manager. So the most common question is, what do you need from our application? So you will click one of the option there, whether you want for your business. So whenever you set up your Gmail account, there are 2 to 3 options. Like it is for your personal use, for your institute or your business use, and you have to select one from them. So this is what the Hicks law say, that keep your survey short so that the user can keep himself with it. Your UI interface should be clutter free. Like it should include different icons for different features. And say that your menus and icons should be grouped into a category. Like in the PowerPoint, the cut, copy, and the clipboard are in the same category and placed with uh, in the same area. Then the second thing, it say that you should create the shortcut buttons so that it can help the user to reach their step completely. Like whenever you visit any website, there is an action in the hero section. There is an option of buy now. So instead of scrolling down and going to the product, the buy now option is presented in the first section or the in the hero section. And there is, you can also highlight your recommended options. Like if you want to recommend something to the user, you can also highlight that. So this is a website that follows the Hicks law. So we can see that on this application, a hamburger icon is used for displaying the menu here. This icon with the 3 line is called the hamburger icon. So it will allows the user to select one of them from the available options. And you can see that there are only few options there. And with each option, a icon is associated that represents what that option is going to do. So that is how the designer applies the Hicks law to their interfaces. Then the second one is the Fitts law. Now the Fitts law say that the distance between your target should be smaller. So it will help the user to take the decision easily. So we will take some examples here, like here. So these are the three screen sizes that are available to us. Here, if we use our thumb to use the touch screen, so it will be hard to reach this icon. But if any option is available here, it will be easier for us to reach this here. Similarly, for different user with their, if someone is lefty, so it will be help, this interface will help them. If someone is using their right hand, this interface will help them. So Fitts law says that the distance between the target should be minimum enough so that the user can easily approach there. Now, here in the second image, it says that there should be the distance, a minimum distance between the icons so that the user can easily click them. What if all the icons are joined with each other like this? Now, if you try to click on camera, at the same time, the home button will also click because there is no distance between these icons. But the actual outcome should be like this. There should be enough distance so that if you click on a certain item, the second one is not going to be affected. This is what the Fitts law state that the distance must be enough so that the user can easily click there. Then you can see this Google interface. Each and every icon have a small distance margin and a padding so that the user can easily click this. You can see the distance between the Google search and I am feeling lucky. There is a minimum distance. Then similarly, here in the Gmail, the image and the sign in, there is some sort of a little bit distance. So that is what the Fitts law says. The distance should be enough that the user can easily approach the icon. Then here, these are some websites that in which the Fitts law is used, and they also follow the Hicks law. Here you can see that in this recommendation option, there are only a few options are provided. And as I mentioned, this also follows like this play button is given the green color. That also follows the Norman's theory that the object should be present in such a way that the user can easily interact with it. Now, the hover effect is also present. Like if you click on any of this link, the color or the background of that icon also changes. In this example, like this is the hover effect that shows that this is the clickable icon. Then, according to Fitts law, each icon there is a enough distance that the see this is the distance between each and every icon that the user can easily click on them. And the focus point of the user is also here, like user can easily target or click the items. These are the most important item the user have to click. So these are placed near to the thumb of the user. If the user is going to use its thumb to use that touch panel. Then in summary, we can say that Hicks and Hyman's law use this kind of right clicks menu, and that's Spotify application allows the user to access the different functions to the right click menu, and by prime pixels that will give the optimal utilization. So that was all about today's lecture. We have seen different HCI components. What is HCI? Two important Hicks and Hyman law. Then we see some real life practical examples, how different application follows these principles in their application for engaging the user and for providing the better user experience so that they can use their interface easily. So if you have any questions, let me know, please.